The late medieval literature. The late Middle Ages mark the end of the medieval era, which is estimated to have ended around 1485. Among the small minority of the population that could be regarded as literate, bilingualism and even trilingualism were common. English was obliged to compete on uneven terms with Latin and with the Anglo-Norman dialect of French, widely used in England at the time. The apparently sudden reappearance of unrhymed alliterative poetry is the most puzzling episode in the development of later Middle English literature. William of Bellerne and Winner and Waster, both are the earliest examples of the phenomenon. William Langland's Piers Plowman is another principal representative of alliterative verse. Langland wrote almost all his verses in the unrhymed alliterative mode. The poet of Sir Gawain far exceeded the other alliterative writers in his mastery of form and style. Pearl stands, somewhat aside from the alliterative movement. It was composed in stanzaic form with alliteration, used for ornamental effect. The other major strand in the development of English poetry, proved much more durable. The cultivation and refinement of human sentiment with respect to love, took firm root in English court culture during the reign of Richard II. English began to displace Anglo-Norman as the language spoken at court and in the aristocratic circles. Chaucer's poems frequently reflects the views and values associated with the courtly poetry. The Book of the Duchess and the House of Fame were heavily indebted to the fashionable French courtly love poetry of the time. His mastery was first revealed in stanzaic form, notably the 7-line stanza, Rhyme Royal, in the Parliament of Fowls and Troilus and Crusader. Later, it was extended in the decasyllabic couplets of the prologue to the Legend of Good Women and large parts of the Canterbury Tales. Though Chaucer wrote a number of moral and amatory lyrics, his major achievements were in the field of narrative poetry. The early influence of French courtly love poetry gave way to an interest in Italian literature. Chaucer was acquainted with Dante's writings and took a story from Petrarch for the substance of the Clerk's Tale. Chaucer's friend John Gower in his long poem Confessio Amontis, presents the classical myths in octosyllabic couplets. He was deeply concerned with the social and political conditions of contemporary society as in The Mirror of Mankind and The Voice of One Crying. Thomas Hoccleve's compositions seem to be written with an eye to patronage, occasionally giving a glimpse of his daily and private lives. John Lydgate's following at court gave him a central place in 15th-century literary life. The body of his verses distinguishes religious, moral, historical and didactic writings. The end of the medieval English period is set about 1470, forming a London-based English dialect later known as the Early Modern English.